Well. I had to go with the green tie today, right? Too much? Not only am I doing the green tie, although this will not be seen on television, although I did flash them on CNN International yesterday, but for the second day in a row, I got my green cords, and I got to show you this. This is pretty cool. Actually, one of my favorite sport coats. Can you see the pattern? The green pattern? Yeah, so I'm all eagled out, and it was nice to come into Center City this morning in darkness and see all the buildings illuminated in green. And I am sure that tomorrow night for the big game, you will see all of that illumination, on national television. Thank you to my friends at Bet Parks. And I've got skin in this game now because I don't think you'll be able to see, but I'm going to do more because there are a lot of prop bets that interest me, but I just went in on the Birds +1. And I also took Saquon Barkley to be the MVP. I don't understand how the odds for Patrick Mahomes being the MVP. I mean, I get it. I do get it. But I don't understand how they are so significantly different than Saquon Barkley being the MVP. Mahomes is +105. So you bet 100 and you win 105. You follow? Kelsey is +1,600. You bet 100, you win 1,600. Jalen Hurts is +350. Saquon Barkley is +250. So I like that. I'm excited about the fact that Philadelphia is getting one, meaning it's such a tight game in the eyes of the odds makers. It should be a great game. It should be a great game. And I also checked something out today from the New York Times had a ranking of the commercials because they got an advance of every one of them and they rank them. And it looks like there's some good commercials that are going to come up as well. I already have seen that Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan at Katz's Deli, and I love that as well. So anyway, I Bet Parks. I am in. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. There's a lot more going on at Parks Casino. Action, excitement, entertainment, concerts, comedy, MMA, boxing, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. Just announced comedian Trevor Wallace, plus Scotty McCreery from American Idol, magician Michael Carbonaro, country superstar Lee Brice, the Larry the Cable Guy, the comedian. Dinner, drinks, make a night of it. Go have dinner. Bamboo Noodle House, so many great offerings. The steak, I love everything that they've got going on up there. Stick around for a show, have a cocktail, get in on the action, especially this weekend. Got to be 21 to have all this fun. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Speaking of the big game tomorrow, I just read, I want to talk about the poll question because I love the poll question today. Are you comfortable with your tax dollars funding USAID soft power initiatives like Sesame Street in Iraq? Yeah, I'm going to go deep on what is that all about and why. I'm going to do that on television today. But just indulge me, please, for a moment further, because I want to blend together politics and sports. Charlie Mathiasen, at Politico, has a great refresher on President Trump and the Eagles. Listen to this. A record audience is expected to watch the Super Bowl this weekend, including Donald Trump, who will be the first sitting president to attend the game in person. While polls suggest a majority of Americans will be rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles to defeat the dynastic Kansas City Chiefs, Trump won't be one of them. He hasn't explicitly expressed his preference, but he left a breadcrumb trail suggesting nothing would make him happier than to see the Eagles get slaughtered in the biggest event in American sports. Trump's disdain for the NFL team traces back to 2018. Do you remember this? The first and only time the Eagles have ever won a Super Bowl. The game took place against the backdrop of an unusually politicized season, marked by the polarizing issue of players refusing to stand for the national anthem in symbolic protest of racism. In his first year as president, Trump objected to the practice, harshly criticizing players who took a knee. Yeah, that was like 2 years into his first term, all the rage. At the time, the Eagles were recognized as an especially socially conscious franchise from owner Jeffrey Lurie, a Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama donor who was reported by the New York Times to have disparaged Trump in a private meeting with other NFL owners, all the way down to the team's key players. After winning the Super Bowl, most of those players said they would boycott the traditional White House event held for championship squads. The clearly peeved president then disinvited them. I hadn't really focused on this. It'll be fun fodder on Monday after the Eagles win. Will Donald Trump extend that invitation? And if so, will they accept it? Wow. In the years since then, the wound has festered. Trump made clear that of his low regard for the Eagles also applied to the city of Philadelphia itself. In his first debate with Joe Biden, he made a false claim about poll watchers being blocked from observing the first days in person. Bad things happen in Philadelphia. Remember that? Bad things happen in Philadelphia. That should be the T-shirt. There's a lot more to this. God, remember Rudy? Four Seasons Landscaping? So funny. I have to tell you one more thing. After days of painstaking vote counting, the overwhelmingly Democratic city indeed delivered the margin that gave the key swing state of Pennsylvania to Biden. Outside the convention center, where rival camps of Trump supporters and opponents had gathered, a lone protester stood on Arch Street with a handmade cardboard sign that nodded to the Eagles' Super Bowl victory. And then it's list of, I don't want to say the word, AHs. So this is like a lone Philly protester adjacent to the convention center when the vote is taking place in 2020. List of AHs defeated by Philadelphia: King George, Tom Brady, Donald Trump. Come on, that's funny. That is really funny. Funny stuff. So I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope the Eagles win the Super Bowl. At any other point in my life, I would be so caught up in all of this. I'm a little late to the party. My heart's in the right place. Lifelong Eagles fan. I just haven't had the time to be as engrossed as I would have in years prior. And I'm excited about having Sal Paolantonio on CNN with me today from New Orleans, because I have known Sal. I consider Sal a friend. I've known Sal for 30 years. I met Sal Paolantonio when he was a political reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, before he became the sport reporter that he has become. And Sal Paolantonio wrote a great biography of Frank Rizzo, the last big man in big city America. Great Paolantonio book. Another great Paolantonio book is How Football Explains America. How Football Explains America. Sal's a good guy, really a good guy. Naval officer. Did you know that about Sal? Yeah, it's true. Okay, Michael, get to the poll question. Yeah. So you know what's going on. Come on. You know what's going on with USAID. And a judge has temporarily blocked some of President Trump's efforts to shut down the agency. And it is, I said this on radio yesterday. I'm going to make the point on television today. It's a losing issue for Democrats because it's so perfectly suited for the soundbite world in which we live, meaning to oppose USAID. I mean, from the White House website, the examples that they have posted right now, a couple of them. If you go to whitehouse.gov, it says at USAID, waste and abuse run deep. 1.5 million to promote LGBTQ inclusion in Serbia. 70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland. 2.5 million for electrical vehicles in Vietnam. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia. 32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. Tough to defend at a time when the American people, many of the American people, think that the federal government is bloated, out of control, and needs to be scaled back. And I said yesterday that it reminds me of William Proxmire, the senator from Wisconsin who used to give away the Golden Fleece Awards. And the team with which I work at CNN, I said, hey, can you come up with, I want to reference Proxmire on television today. Can you come up with some examples of the sort of things that he blew a whistle on? They exceeded my wildest expectations. One award that Proxmire singled out went to a $50,000 study on the sex life of screwworms. I mean, that's just funny. I don't even know what a screwworm is, but I guess that's why we were studying them. Or how about this? In 1975, William Proxmire gave a Golden Fleece Award to the Federal Aviation Administration. Can this be true? For spending $57,800. If you adjust that for inflation, it would be almost $300,000 today. So what did the FAA spend 300 grand on? Would you believe, studying the measurements of 432 airline stewardesses, including the distance from the knee to the knee while sitting and measuring the length of the buttocks. First of all, I love saying buttocks. And secondly, stewardess is so funny. But I think it's a great example where, let's just take that. So they were measuring the fannies and the knee-to-knee width of stewardesses. And you say, what? They spent all that money on that? That's crazy. But why would they have done so? I didn't look into this issue, that expenditure, but probably because they were looking at the design of planes and they needed to know how big are the crew so that we can build their seats. But there's always like an additional explanation that's required. And I'm going to give the additional explanation on Sesame Street on air today. Because when you hear that we spent all this money on Sesame Street in Iraq, you say, why are we spending it over there? People in Asheville and people in Southern California are struggling with the aftermath of catastrophic storms. But it gets to a larger conversation of soft power. Soft power. I have a great guest, TC has already booked for me on Monday on that subject. I want to read something to you. Bear with me. Peter Baker, oh, is this the right one? I hope so. Wrong note. Hang on, we're live. We're doing it live. Gonna do it live. I need to look at my notes. Where the hell are they? Today is the 8th. Sorry, gang, talk among yourselves. This is important to me and I want to get it right. Come on, Michael. Yeah, here we go. So Peter Baker wrote this for the New York Times at the end of the week. Hard power has long been an instrument of influence for American presidents, going back to the days of gunboat diplomacy, more than 2 decades of war after the terror attacks of 9/11, 2001. But the United States has also employed what is called soft power, a term and concept popularized in the 1990s by Joseph S. Nye Jr., former dean of the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, who served in President Bill Clinton's administration. Soft power is non-coercive and includes foreign aid to fight disease and poverty while encouraging development, which beyond altruism has been viewed as beneficial to the United States. Among other things, experts say it can discourage illegal immigration to the United States. Soft power also encompasses products as diverse as Hollywood movies and denim jeans that fuel America's popularity around the world and thus its influence. The United States could sometimes get what it wanted, the theory went, because other countries aspired to be like the United States or to be its friend. I'm not defending all of these expenditures from USAID. I am here, however, to say that there's more to the story. There's more to the story. And in the case of Sesame Street in Vietnam, was it Vietnam? Pardon me, in Iraq, there's much more to this story in terms of the reach that it has with children. And as somebody said to me on radio yesterday, who would you rather Iraqi kids be taught by? The Taliban, Al-Qaeda, or Big Bird? So I'm not going to defend USAID. I am going to say there's more nuance to it. And that is why today's poll question at Smerconish.com, I played around as I always do with the wording of this. And in the end, I decided to personalize it. I decided to personalize it to all of you. Are you comfortable with your tax dollars funding USAID soft power initiatives such as Sesame Street in Iraq? Do you see that there's a greater good here beyond just building weapons, right, and staffing the military, that, frankly, there's a psychological role that we could be playing here to try and win friends and influence enemies? That's what it's all about. So go vote on the poll question at Smerconish.com. Senator Chris Coons will be my guest talking about that and Elon Musk and all that's taking place. It's kind of hard to decide what to talk about because there's so many things in the news. And of course, we've got the big game tomorrow. Will you please like and subscribe and set yourself up for notifications? Like today, I began a few minutes early and I thought, can I start early? I'd like to begin early. And I thought, well, yeah, because people who have notifications set up will be alerted to that fact. So enjoy the weekend. Go Birds. Hope you'll watch on CNN and answer today's poll question. Are you all right with your tax dollars? You've read the laundry list of all these sound bites. It's a very strong political tool for Republicans to say, look how all this money is being spent. Are you okay with funding some of these soft initiatives, these soft power initiatives with your tax dollars? I don't know how it'll turn out. I do not know how it'll turn out once we have the added heft of the CNN audience, but that's what makes it a great poll question. Okay, see ya. Thank you.